All right, guys. Okay. So I think the audience really wants to know what happened, what led to this. From my understanding, this is an MIT event. Mihiret, you're a Harvard student, but you happen to be there. Can you explain to us how this came to be?
Of course, yeah. It was, to be honest, very providential. The night before, I ran into someone that told me that Cliff was in town. I didn't even know that they were in town. So I said, I want to go and see with my own eyes. Cliff and Stewart are very much viral. They have a large following, and one of their main things is they go to different college campuses. So in Boston, the first campus that they hit was MIT, and for those of you that are in Boston, you know that Harvard and MIT are really, really close together. It's like I would say less than 10 minutes by train to get from one place to another. So I went there to see what Cliff was up to and Stewart, and part of it, is and I've said this before. The work that they've done in bringing people out of atheism from other religions is a really good work. But I was very sad and disappointed to see, especially when they were on the, I think the George Janko podcast, they had the Avengers episode. There was a lot of really sad things, disappointing things that they said that many other members of that podcast said, which I think that we would say is blatantly wrong, not just in the Oriental Orthodox Communion, but generally, the apostolic churches. We kind of all have agreed that these are really central tenets, right? Our understanding of baptism, of the Eucharist. So I kind of came there just to offer a question. I really wanted to see how they would respond to it, and I quickly saw it kind of not turn out the way they wanted it to be. I think maybe they just weren't prepared for someone to push them on that topic, and the discussion turned out the way it turned out. And glory to God, a lot of people have seen it, and it's led to them having a change of heart. I've seen a lot of
Really
Protestants that
great.
have. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Protestants that have commented on our Instagram page, on the Burning Bush page, on our YouTube comment section. I've said, this has made me really reconsider my position. I think I want to do my research and see really what did the early church believe. And so, above, going viral, getting the clicks and the views, which is great. I think the beauty of this is that it's allowing us to spread the message of the fullness of truth. And that is really what mean God of our prayers are, is that people can come to the knowledge of the fullness of truth.
Yeah, no, very well said. And it became very clear to many that there were holes in the theology, right? It was so clear as day. And I think that's why many people are questioning, okay, wait a second, maybe I should research this, because when they look up to Stuart and Cliff and then they realize that they can't answer. And to be honest, like, there's a bunch of things I want to discuss. Like even like the way he was trying to control the conversation is one item, and also the fact that you were so calm and composed, and were able to answer him, and you were so spot on, and you brought him back to the discussion at hand. Many people have seen this as a true sign of piety, and a sign that, wait a second, maybe what Cliff and Stuart are saying is not necessarily true. So, can you, before we go to Caleb, because to discuss his discussion with Cliff and Stuart, can you speak a bit more about this? So, I mean, were you nervous? Did you get upset at some point? Because at some point, Stuart said some things that were not appropriate, to say the least, right?
Right.
This thing about the knee, and dipping the knee, anyway. So anyways, I'll let you give us your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I was definitely nervous, especially getting up to speak in front of the two of them, who I know they've debated many people, and also seeing all of these different people gathered from Harvard, MIT. Boston's a college town, so there's people from all different campuses. So of course I was nervous, but I think I quickly saw, just from the first response that they made, if you look at the actual discussion, their first response was a logical fallacy. They said, well, millions of people don't believe in what you
Yeah,
believe.
yeah,
And so I quickly realized, okay, if their opening line is this, then that means that the foundation is not good. So I figured, if I can keep my composure, and I just continue speaking and pushing for what is the correct belief, the orthodox belief, then all will be well. It doesn't matter if he tries to cut me off, which he did many times. I think the truth will find its way and make its way out. But I was very much shocked how as the interaction continued, especially given I was there for about 2 hours before I spoke. I saw him speak to many atheists. I saw him speak to people from other religions, and he was very polite. He let them speak for extended periods of time without cutting them off. So it seemed to me that it was kind of almost a panic response
Yeah.
that led to that kind of response. And like you said, he had a very carnal and I would say blasphemous way of describing the Eucharist, which was interesting to me because before that, he said, "Oh, I have many friends that believe that, and I have no problem with it." But then he went on to dismiss it and make fun of it and kind of parody it.
Yeah.
And so I think there's kind of a conflict between it. Like, how can you say that this is a belief that you're okay with, but then at the same time you're parodying it and dismissing it when it's a very, very serious belief that's revered by so many Christians? So again, I was sad to see that. And again, this wasn't the first time that we've seen him and people like him do that. We saw the same thing in the Avengers podcast when Georgienko called the Eucharist dirt.
It was heartbreaking.
So hopefully people can see that. I mean, I hope people's eyes are open and they're realizing the kind of dismissive and irreverent way people are speaking about the sacred mysteries.
Yeah.